Hi, my name is Jack, and this is my direct video on field-based activity number 2. It's kind of based on Maslow's hierarchy of needs and his pyramid and how it relates to students' ability to learn. So I really wanted to talk about kind of the pyramid itself and the different levels within Maslow's hierarchy of needs before introducing Mrs. Bodner. She's a kindergarten teacher in Toronto, and I'll let her introduce herself, but she'll kind of be talking today about how Maslow's hierarchy of needs relates to her classroom and how she balances the different needs of students within her classroom. But, my sources today that I'm going to go over really talk about the different levels and kind of what is included in each level and the importance of each level. So, your sociological needs, come first. So, air, water, food, shelter, clothing, sleep, anything like that is the first priority. These are things that you need to survive, these basic needs to survive. And you can't move up a level in Maslow's pyramid unless you meet the level below it. So, if you can't get to that highest level that I'll refer to in a little bit without meeting the levels below it. Kind of these requirements for his pyramid here. But so after, those basic needs are met for survival, you're going to go into safety. So, this idea of personal security, feeling safe, employment could be a good example, or health, or owning a property, things like that kind of make you feel safe as well. Once you move up in the pyramid, you're going to go into love and belonging. So basically, like anything, building a sense of connection, some friendships, intimacy, your family, things like that is really important. The fourth level is kind of esteem. So maybe respect, self-esteem, like an idea of recognition, freedom, like strength is really kind of included in this higher level. And then, of course, the highest is self-actualization. So basically this desire to become the most one can be, maybe become your best self, things like that is super, super important. Mrs. Bodner is going to talk a little bit about the basic and the lower levels here of Maslow's hierarchy of needs and how it relates to her classroom. But I really wanted to talk about kind of the higher level. So in order for students to reach the higher levels, like I said earlier, you have to meet the lower levels. But in order to get your students to really have that desire to become the best they can be, you have to ensure that you make a true effort to get to know each student. Something that my sources kind of referenced, and I think is super, super important in the classroom, because that way they feel confident in themselves and know that they can do the work to become better. That's how you're going to help them progress through each step, is to love them, show empathy, radiant confidence, tell them about, help them be more confident in the classroom, and, just have this idea of safety as well, to kind of make sure they feel safe in the classroom so they can each move up to the higher levels. I think once the student feels safe and loved, they can move to the two highest levels, which is kind of self-esteem and, this desire to be better. So now I'm going to introduce Mrs. Bodner. She's going to speak a little bit on Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Thank you. Thank you for having me. This is Mrs. Bodner. She's a teacher at Toronto City School Districts. And could you tell me a little bit more about yourself before I start the questions?
My name's Karen Bodner. I've been teaching since 2001, so this is my 20th year teaching. I taught first grade for a couple years, then I taught special ed for 9, then fourth grade for 3, and then I've been in kindergarten for 6.
Okay. Yeah, so she's been in kindergarten for 6 years, and kind of today we're talking about Maslow's hierarchy of needs, and I thought she's a great teacher to kind of talk about this and kind of how it relates to kindergarten and the basic needs of students. So the first question I wanted to ask her is, tell me a little bit, how does Maslow's hierarchy of needs apply to your teaching?
Well, the basic bottom tier is food, water. So every day we provide a free breakfast for all of our kids. So when they come in, they can have breakfast. We have a snack every day throughout the middle of the day, and then we also have a free lunch, because a lot of the kids come hungry. And so we make sure that we do that over holiday breaks. We send home goodie bags. We call them blessing bags, and they're filled with cereal, granola bars, chips that they can have over breaks.
Yeah, and I remember you actually, when she filled out her diversity form with us, and you kind of talked about your income level of your students. Can you talk a little bit about that?
50% of my class is on free lunch. We provide a free lunch right now for everyone through a grant, but for other things like field trips and everything, we can pay for that because they're on like the free lunch level, their income level, and like I said, I have 20 students and 10 of them are on the free. And then there are others that are on the reduced, but that's just the free level. Then you go to the next tier with the classroom, which I think, I've been in college, I haven't been in college a long time, but would be the, is it the safety?
Yeah, safety.
Safety. So like, our goal is to just make the students feel safe at school, like that we love them, it's a safe place to be. We have classroom rules, we're very routine because a lot of the kids like routine. That makes them feel safe, they know what's coming next. You're not throwing a ton at them.
And you said that kind of, just talking about routine, because in terms of like low income, you said that's a big factor. With
It's huge. They love routine.
Yeah.
They love to know what's coming next. A lot of the kids that are low income move a lot. They go like all winter, living somewhere, then as soon as it warms up and they're not paying their rent, then they move to a different location. So they love the routine of school and knowing that you're always going to be there. So we like to try to keep it as routine as possible. We try to like let them feel like they're a part of the classroom, like the sense of belonging every day to try to get relationships with the kids. We call it chit chat every day, where you ask a question, they have to think about it, and then they talk with their group about it, and then we share out. Oh, wow. So just to get them to talk to other kids and feel like they're part of the classroom. We try to give them each like a job and make them feel special, find every little thing that you can to say a positive. We're real big in our school with PBIS, that positive behavior, so that we reinforce the positive instead of always saying negative to them. Because a lot of kids always hear negative. So we try to always say the positive and tell them our expectations. So like when we're going out in the hall, we'll say, okay, boys and girls, we're gonna line up, we're gonna keep our hands to our sides, we're gonna walk quietly because other kids are learning in their classrooms, we're gonna try to not leave big gaps in it, and we're gonna be, we call them PAX leaders. That's another behavior thing we do that's positive. We try to promote the positive and not negative.
Yeah. So my next question would kind of be like, how do you balance that? So you have like you said, half of your students are low income, on that free lunch. And how do you balance that? Because you have maybe some students that are, more well off or have different needs. Their needs need to be met differently. So maybe how do you differentiate your instruction or things like that to kind of balance that out?
No matter what their income level is necessarily, we differentiate everything. So you do have some kids that like come to school, they never went to preschool, or they never went to any type of Head Start, anything, and we come to kindergarten, they don't know any letters, they don't know the difference between letters and numbers. Then you have kids that went to 2 years of preschool, their parents had them in story time at the library, and they know all their letters already before they come. So you have to push the kids that know everything already and keep them going, and then you have to make up for the younger ones or the ones that don't. So I have different worksheets in the morning. So like if you don't know your letters, I might have something for you to work on that. But then if I know all my letters, I might be working on blending the letters together to start forming words. So I have different worksheets for different kids in the classroom as they come in. And then we have a response to intervention time for a half hour every day where they're playing. So they have no idea what I'm pulling individual kids and working on skills that they might need mastery on, or like my kids that already have mastered everything that I'm pushing them doing like enrichment activities with. Yeah,
and I think another thing you talked to me off camera about was kind of the emotional needs of students. When you talk about, like, you mentioned like loving them first, like, so we talk about the Maslow's pyramid, like those needs need to be met before they learn, right?
Oh yeah, you can tell. If a kid is loved at home, they come to school to learn. But if they are not loved at home and don't have that sense of loving, they come to school just for you to love them. And once they feel that you love them, then they'll start to learn. So you have to do that relationship first with them. Like, make them feel that you love them. Like, you have to. I know a lot of people might see someone that might not have the best clothes on, might not be clean, and not want to, but you have to hug them too. If you're hugging the other kids, you have to hug them too.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for having me, and thank you so much for this conversation.
Anytime.
Hi, my 3 teaching goals for this field-based activity that kind of relates to Maslow's hierarchy of needs. I'm going to talk about the higher levels in Maslow's pyramid to kind of talk about my goals in my classroom. So my first goal is really related to tier 3, that kind of self-belonging and having that feeling of love, especially in the classroom. So one of my goals is to create more celebrations in the classroom. So celebrating like birthdays or big events or things that my students have done can really help boost and kind of create that healthy and safe environment where they feel loved and respected and things like that. Another goal I have is for tier 4, that kind of self-achievement, that recognition, self-esteem level. I would love to kind of do like a career day, bring in someone from like the community college nearby and kind of integrate that with the career day, or even just displaying skills as a class. So, creating different cool quizzes or instruction to kind of even maybe peer grading where they can grade each other's work, things like that, so they can feel like capable and successful in the classroom. And then my third is really related to the highest tier in Maslow's pyramid, so that kind of self-actualization and that self-fulfillment needs and things like that. And really, that's just kind of all about service. So I really think you should really my goal is to create more reflections in the classroom, so self-reflections after they do the work, or any type of reflection maybe related to a specific topic that we're learning in class. And I think that can really help create those questions in their head for that highest tier in his pyramid. Thank you.